What's a crack, guys? So it's about time. Finally got the drift car back in the garage. Got it up on the 4-post lift. You can see 4-post lift there. Just got that installed. If you can remember back to the old videos, there was a massive exhaust leak and then there's a bit of a fire down there, basically because the exhaust gases were just shooting straight up. So I needed to get the car jacked up a bit. Also I need to take off the turbo. So to get access from the turbo, you need to go underneath. I'll quickly go underneath, start taking off exhaust, try and see if we can find the leak. So it is a bit of a tight squeeze to get under here. So, ideally, this would be so much easier if I had a ramp and more space. Let's see. So, there's the old culprit there. This is the flange from my exhaust control valve. So the valve's usually in here. This is the top. And when I was under the car, I noticed the motor part was very loose and stuck my finger in, and this whole part was missing. So that just needs taken out and replaced. So I just need to bridge up that gap. The downpipe seems fine. And then I just need to get in under to unbolt turbo. Those bolts there. I can get rid of the downpipe to get the turbo off easier. Alright, so under the car here, gonna undo the downpipe and then undo the turbo. Turbo is finally off, and that was a real pain in the ass to get out. So turbo's off, had to take off a few coolant lines and actually drained all my coolant onto the garage floor because I forgot to get a bucket. Forgot to mention in this video actually, it's Love Island season, and that's how I'm getting so much time to work on the car. So Love Island isn't just for the women, it's perfect for the car lads also. Right, so we're just going out to see the turbo. Got the turbo taken off the car. So this is a hybrid turbo. I think this is all stock, and this is bigger, if I'm right. As you can see, on the two mating surfaces, there's no O-ring. Another day in the garage, as you can see, stinking day outside. But car parts came today. Is our turbo beanie and then an O-ring for the turbo. So let's just see if this fits. So obviously because it's folded a bit, it's a wee bit misshapen, but that is going to be a perfect fit. So I've got an O-ring on there. I measured it up with the caliper, so I know the fit's going to be decent. Some might say it even fits. So that's it all bolted up, and as you can see, this wee part here no longer sits flush. So I don't know if that's going to leak or not. So since I've got the turbo off, I decided this is a perfect time to test out the turbo beanie. So as you can see, there it is. So as you can see, it really fits the turbo nicely. So the job's a good one. Only messing, that's actually just when I join his nappies. So we actually do have the real beanie over here, so we'll just grab it. So we've got a Forge Motorsport beanie. We'll just see what it fits like. That's the turbo beanie on. Doesn't fit perfect. Kind of bodged it on there. I slept on it and decided I don't like the O-ring idea because it's not sitting on well. So before I actually bought the O-rings, I bought some high temp copper RTV silicone gasket maker. So this was the O-ring. So it was a really good fit. But as you can see, just that extra like 2 mils or 3 mils, whatever that is enough. So then this mating surface doesn't sit flush. So we'll just slop on the gasket sealer on this edge, which will be well away from any spinning parts. You can see now that sits a lot nicer than before, maybe up very, very minimally. Obviously because the gasket sealer is going to take some space, but it's pretty flush to me. Turbo bolted back together, sealed up, turbo beanie on. So now just to gently massage it back into that hole. Well, there she is, guys. Turbo's back in. Gonna plumb up everything that I've sort of taken apart here. Then I need to do the exhaust. Last night we're down at Skillfab HQ, Dave's MIG Welding 101 course. So good tips. I'll show you my welds here actually, I'm pretty proud of them. These are my initial welds for my gasless MIG. using flux core. As you can see, they are hideous. And then these are some of my first sort of welds on Dave's gas MIG, and then he's obviously set up the settings and things like that. And then that's what we end up with at the end of the night. A few tips from Dave made literally all the difference. So he's going to come over sometime, set up my MIG to run gas, and then hopefully my welds no longer look like a pile of bird yite. Sorted. Out of gear. No idea if it starts. So I hooked up the airline to my makeshift boost leak tester, and I was still leaking air. Wasn't holding. It sounded like it was coming somewhere in and around that area. It was hard to sort of pinpoint exactly where it is, but I think I have finally got it. You can feel a wee bit of leak coming from there. That's like a air temp sensor. That's sat overnight, so the gasket seal should be dry and hardened. So we're going to pump the system full of air and see is it holding pressure, or can I hear any more leaks. So as you can see, it's still losing pressure. I can still hear it hissing from over there. It actually feels like it's leaking when you put your finger over it from the sensor itself rather than the sort of threads. And you see it's still bubbling on the way there. So I'm probably just going to JB weld it here now. So this is the part I ended up slopping loads of JB weld on, so I think that should get an airtight seal. So we'll pop that back on and we'll see if that holds up. That's that back in there. We'll hook up some pressure into the system. So that's no longer leaking. There's a leak here, you can actually see where the soap was bubbling up. So that's that part removed. So we'll block those up also with JB weld and put a plate over. That should be that sorted. So that's the plate on, wait for the gasket sealer to dry, try again tomorrow. So that section of the manifold is now boost leak free. However, I did notice that it is leaking from the injectors. So as you can see, Jonah is manning the fuel line for us. So we're going to cut those up to size, aren't we? Yeah, we're going to try and cut those up to size. So that's the stock lower grommet. And if we line those up the fuel line, you can see they are the exact size. I've got 4 that I'm sort of happy with that are similar to the original. So back in the garage for the millionth time. I've got my sort of fake grommets that I made out of 3/8 fuel line. We'll stick these in and fingers crossed this fixes these leaks. And I kid you not, there was another boost leak. That hole there is usually blocked up by one of these, which is basically the oil metering pump delete kit. So surprise surprise, no luck. So the last thing to check is the lower intake manifold, which is apparently prone to leaking. You can't really test for leaks just of the position where it's at, so we're stripping everything down again. Unfortunately the turbo needs to come off so then you can actually get at that manifold. Gasket looks fine. Couldn't see any obvious tears or any spots that it could potentially be leaking from, because I can't see anything else down there that's a boost line or vacuum line or any potential that can be leaking that I haven't already changed. Right, excuse the wife beater, it's absolutely roasting outside. Well, you can't really tell, but it's roasting outside. Absolute sweat box in here, especially because I'm using a halogen light. Quick update, I've been working on the car flat out for a couple of nights trying to find this last boost leak. So I've taken the lower manifold off like 3 times, the turbo off loads of times. Basically loads of stuff has come off loads of times and I haven't found the problems. And every time I fix one problem I seem to create another problem. But I think I've tracked down the issue. So I could hear basically a boost leak coming from below the manifold. But whenever I've tested the system, excuse my homemade sort of blocking plate with some gloves here. Anyway, whenever I was testing the system without the turbo on, basically the turbo off, those are the exhaust ports down there. I don't know if you can kind of see them. Anyway, boost is coming out through those. Basically the boost is going through the engine. So on that note, everything's getting bucked back on. Whenever I was testing also, from the front of the turbo. So we go down here. So I'm testing the turbo out basically by blocking off the front here, putting pressure through the whole system. So for some reason there seems to be boost coming through that lower coolant drain. So I think it's just because that front part of the turbo is never pressurized. Pressure usually starts from after here, after this turbine wheel. Basically from here onwards, that's when the boost gets created. But I'm actually putting boost through here. So I think a bit of boost is probably going through the seal from this wheel and coming out here. It's only minimal. I think that's all the boost leaks I can be asked anymore, to be honest with you. Car's getting bolted back together. Coilovers need to go on. I guess that's us now. So don't forget to click like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us for more videos. Hopefully get more drift action soon. We'll hopefully get more videos of the other guys' builds. Yeah, stay tuned. See you folks.